fun to go out. Except I never leave my house. I'm either at work or home. And it seems kind of pathetic just drinking alone. So if you got nothing going on, have some drinks with Ron.
Hello, welcome to Drinks with Ron. I'm Ron, and I've overpoured my drink from the triumvirate. Triumvirate? Can't say that today. It's a bad sign. Triumvirate of taps at Third Generation Brewing. On the right, the Greg Cody Show with Greg Cody Tapper. That's a White Whale Ale proprietary recipe here at Third Generation Brewing. On the left side in the Radio Mofo tap, we've got what I'm enjoying here, which is my classic rhubarb, which is called brew beer. But this batch has mango flavoring added. So we've got a mango rhubarb, and it's pretty good. But let me digress. On the platter, Dukes of Dixieland. There's a reason for that, and it's also a reason for this shirt. Probably can't see it here, but it says New Orleans, which is funny because I didn't get it in New Orleans. I think it actually came from a thrift shop down the road, and I didn't wear it to New Orleans. So it's funny though. I do have one that I did receive and wear in New Orleans, and it's this guy, this hoodie. Look at that. Look at that face. That familiar? That's me with dreadlocks back in the day. Photoshopped by a guy from Philadelphia. Long story, I will get you there. But to get you there into New Orleans, we've got to get you to my podcast. And getting to that, so I've got to get you to the podcast. So in the name of expediency, I've added a timer to the board, and I'm going to take you up to the pod. Here we go. Big fan of the Le Batard Show. It's a podcast. Got on Twitter, a bunch of randos. Met these guys. Same interest in the Le Batard Show. We ended up forming a fantasy football league that was themed around the show. After the league was done, we decided we should draft, fantasy draft style people who work on the Le Batard Show. They wanted to do it on Twitter. I said, fuck that, let's do it on audio. We'll put it on my pod. So we got together, we had the meeting. After it was done, it was so much fun, we decided, hey, shit, let's keep making a podcast. And we did, for 9 months, till it finally imploded, which leads you to the new podcast that I had started last January, the Outsiders Social Club. So yeah, that gets you to my pod, the OSC, Outsiders Social Club, so you can find it anywhere podcasts are downloaded. It's part of the Half-Assed Podcast Network, a network of shows that I do all in my basement because I'm like manic and I want to take advantage of that energy. So that's a story for another time. Let me digress. So we get to the OSC. One of the running bits in the last year. Oh, you know what? I could probably just find the damn thing because I've got the soundboard up. One of the running jokes is one of the guys likes to mute people when they're talking about things that he says don't interest him. So he'll mute them and then usually shifts to something about a parade, which is like, that's the bit. First off, he mutes them when they're talking about something that's probably interesting, and then comes in with something about parades. So it's got Your brain's lots of parades facts. And that's what I appreciate so much is parade facts. Well, there's a parade fact sounder after he drops the parade thing on them. We tell them they've been muted. It's a whole thing. We've got a muted sounder too. I guess I should probably just play that for you too. Yeah. So first he mutes them, and then you've been muted. They hear that, and then we do the parade fact. It's a whole big thing. So every time we have a guest on, which surprisingly we've had some pretty big name guests on in the last year. I guess if you're not an NBA or bad movie fan, maybe you probably don't know any of the guys from the Cinephobe podcast, but we had all three of them on there. They're big names in my world, okay? I mean, Amin Elhassan. Fuck, Google him, all right? Look it up. I'll wait. I'll stand here. You know what? No, I'm not going to wait. Just pause it and go Google Amin Elhassan. He's the shit. Anyway, we've had a bunch of these people on our pod. So the running joke is this guy likes to ask them some parade-related question. Just out of left field, out of nowhere, because they clearly don't listen to us and they don't know the bit. So he just blindsides him out of left field with a question about a parade. And shockingly, everyone's had a really great answer. The first of the Cinephobe triumvirate, I can say now that I've had beer, and that must have been the problem, was Zach Harper, NBA insider. He's a funny guy, great on the Cinephobe podcast. Again, go do a Google. I'm not going to wait. Pause me and go do it or whatever. Do it later. I don't know. I don't tell you how to Google. You Google how you want. But Troy hits him with a parade question. And the follow-up, he mentions, did you know in New Orleans, you can have your own parade? A couple $100, you get the permits, blah, blah, blah. And you're having a parade down Bourbon Street. Like, oh, shit, that's cool. So, that was, it's just like, wow, where does this stupid parade question lead? Well, the guy who's got the parade bit gets a DM. Again, another rando from Twitter, a listener to the podcast, dude in Philadelphia, says, hey, I'm going to be down there in November for a wedding. If you guys can come down, I'll pay for the parade, get all the permits. We just get most of the pod down there and let's do this. Well, real life. Who's got the money to just drop down, get a plane ticket, and head off to New Orleans for a podcast parade? Well, I decided I did. So, yeah, we'll get this guy off. There's a better image. Yeah, so I said, fuck it. This parade thing, the way this whole thing happened, that's the universe telling me I need to go to a parade in New Orleans. So I made the necessary arrangements and strapped out lines of credit and et cetera, but I got tickets in a hotel and I was going to go to New Orleans. It's fantastic for a podcast that, shit, like I said, I had to explain all this to even make it make any sense. And even when I say it all out loud, I'm still not sure that it does. Like, every hour we were down there, we'd look at each other and be, well, you know what? Let me just rewind the whole thing back. Fly out of Madison early. Should I do a timer? Let me get you a timer here. So we'll see how far I can get here if I can get you to New Orleans. There we go. All right. So I took a plane out of Madison, flew down to Dallas, Fort Worth. A couple hour layover, flew over, blah, 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 landed in New Orleans. Samo, this dude from Philly who's designed these shirts and did the whole thing and rounded it all up. He picks me up at the airport, drops me off the Maison Dupri, where my parade guy Troy is waiting, and he gives me this merch here, and this is amazing. Me and Troy are hugging it out in the parade, or in the hotel, and then off to the Copper Monkey. Copper? Yes, Copper Monkey. I'm not sure which alloy it was, but yeah, there you go. That gets me to New Orleans. We went out drinking for a little bit before we went on a lewd ghost tour. Not sure what that means. I wasn't either. To be frank, I'm still not quite sure what the fuck it means. But tour guide didn't want to be there, so my guy Troy instantly called. She's doing one of these, sitting there on her phone. Troy's like, oh, I mean, if you don't want to be here, we can we can do something else. Oh, no. She has to backtrack that she's in fact interested in doing her job, but her voice is just shot, so she's going to be low energy tonight. And yeah, so a little walking tour around New Orleans, some cool stories because the buildings are old and a lot of fucked up shit has happened there. So that was kind of cool. Met some guys from Canada. They were on the tour with us, found out we had to explain them the whole fucking story of what we're doing in New Orleans from separate states and what the fuck's going on. But yeah, they wanted to come on the podcast. I didn't figure they were going to follow up. I haven't seen any clicks out of Canada on the whole statistics there. But yeah, first night went out party a little bit, met up with Samo, the dude that I said he did this design, made the shirts, is selling them. If you want to get one, Sammy the K on the Twitter machine, and he'll tell you how you can buy Ron themed merch. It's got the parade date and times with a picture of me from 20 years ago when I had hair, super baked and little dreadies, and yeah. So Met up with him after the tour. We had some drinks back at the hotel, slept it off, got up. Jesus, I should do another timer. I don't want to rush myself, but got up, went and had breakfast, a little walking, hit a brew pub. I couldn't make it through the flight. I got to the dark beers at the end and too early for a flight of beer. I didn't do it, didn't make it. But got some beignets, went to the hotel, couple hour nap, got up, met the crew, hooked up with Samo, and a few pre-parade drinks. Then we went, took the recorder, recorded a little pregame in the hallway with some drinks, and started the, we ended up not doing the parade. So, I mean, it's a cop-out, yeah. But what it came down to was, well, there was a couple hundred for the permits. Well, then you also had to get 2 police escorts front and back, and you're paying both these guys overtime. So by the time you were done, this $200 parade was like upwards of $1,000. So he's like, guys, is it cool? You know, there's 3 of us. Is it cool if we just don't? He's like, yeah, man, I'm not gonna try to hold you to that. She's like, fuck, $1,000? Like, well, it's $200. They're gonna take you up on it. So we did our own parade and walked through New Orleans, recorded the whole thing. It's on the Outsider Social Club podcast. You can find that episode if you're interested. But that was it. I wasn't there long. I said I didn't have a lot of money to spend on a trip. Almost couldn't get the time off work. It almost became a thing. But yeah, went down and met some people. It was really cool to fucking meet these guys. And we did our parade. We fulfilled the thing. We got an episode out of it. And then I got up next day and ate breakfast with Troy and then flew the fuck back to Wisconsin. North Carolina to Wisconsin. Don't know how that worked out, but it was shorter than going straight down to Dallas, Fort Worth, and then over, because I had a longer layover. So, hour shorter on the way back, going to North Carolina way. Yeah, it's a great time. I said there's merch. If you want to buy some, he's got some left. He's got shirts, he's got hoodies, he's got can coolers. Sammy the K, SAMITHEK, if you want merch. And then once he sells out his stockpile, we're going to open up the merch store for the Outsider Social Club. And we might be getting some new stickers on the taps, is all I'm going to tell you. We'll tease that for down the road. But I think we're getting near, my record timer is about to go off. So I should shut it off. But I don't want to pay the wrath of Todd Fine, which is what happens if I don't finish my drink on the episode. So I'm going to finish my drink on the episode. Did get to hear some of this playing off a riverboat. That was pretty fucking sweet. The deed is done. So for Drinks with Ron, I'm Ron, signing off.